Hi everyone. So I'm going to show you today how you're going to turn on and function your e-collars. We're going to show today the E-collar Tech Mini Educator 300s. These are the ones that I'm currently using majority of the time. I will do a separate video on the other two that you could potentially use. So first off, I'm going to show you how to turn them on and off, so basic stuff. On the remote here, it's actually fairly simple. Most of the buttons are labeled. On the very back side, you'll see on the back here, it says on off right next to this big button. I don't know if you can see, but there is an L engraved on there. You'll see the function also says light. To turn it on or off, you're going to press and hold this button until you see the display appear. So you're going to press and hold. Once the display appears, then you're on. Now, to turn the collar on is a little bit interesting. It does have a magnetic on-off. So you'll see on this face of the collar, you'll have the indicator light, and then you also have a red button here. You're going to have a matching button on the remote on this side by the T button. All you're going to do is touch them together. When the green light goes on, then it's on. It'll blink every 10 seconds or so when it's functioning. Same thing to turn it off. Touch them, red for off, no more blinking. Same thing on the remote, press and hold the on-off button again. It will eventually say off or of and then disappear. Now, button-wise, you have three main buttons on the remote. The two S buttons on this side and the T button over here. Now, the main button that I generally use is the red S button. Now, you'll see on the collar when I press the button, the light on the collar holds red. That indicates to you that these are paired and is actually giving a stimulation at this point. S's stand for stimulation, meaning they're going to give electronic stimulation if you press one of them. Now, this button, the red one, is what they call a continuous, which means if I press and hold it, it will give a continuous stimulation the entire time I am depressing the button up to 10 seconds. At which point, if I held that long, it will eventually shut off. There you go. If I need to press it again, I have to release and then depress again. That's your safety feature in case you sat on the remote for some reason. It won't just go until it dies. Black S button is what they refer to as a momentary. Some other collars refer to it as a nick, but it is a 1 second stimulation. No matter how long I depress the button for, it's just a 1 second stim. Other button you have is the T button over here. T stands for tapping, but it is actually a vibrate. Now, this one does not have a 10-second shutoff that I am aware of. If you hold it down, it will vibrate the entire time. Now, on your display here, you've got a few things on there. The number in the middle is the level of the intensity that you're working at, the electronic intensity. So, how you change that is by this squat little dial here. So, on the mini educators, you have anywhere from 0, which is nothing, all the way up to high, which is 100. Okay, and it is a bit sensitive, so when you're first using this, you might have to feel it out a little bit so you get the hang of how sensitive the dial is. Now, other letters you have on here, an M and a C, these indicate to you how your S buttons are functioning. So if I see both an M and a C, that tells me I have one momentary button and one continuous button. The 1D that's flashing just stands for one dog unit, meaning this is made for one dog. If it's blinking, it means that I can freely move my dial and change my intensity. If I wanted to lock the intensity in place, you simply press down on the dial for 2 seconds maybe. That 1D will hold solid, and now if I change it or turn the dial at all, my level will not change. Same thing to unlock, press and hold. It'll readjust, and then the 1D will start blinking, and then you can freely move it again. Now, on the back here, you also have this little tiny button. I'm not sure if you can see what it says, but it has an M and a C engraved on it. This button will change the function of your two S buttons. So, for example, if I hit the MC button, you'll see on my display. Let's see. Oh, I'm locked. There we go. So, make sure it's unlocked when you do this. There we go. So hit the M and C. I'm going to hit it again. So now if I only see the C, now both of these buttons are continuous, meaning if I press and held them, they would hold for up to 10 seconds. Now, in this mode, there is one change to the buttons. So now if I press my top button, my black button, which was the momentary previously, it'll hold at 11. However, now your red button is your boost. So it'll hop at this one set to 20, but now it's going to hop 20 levels at a time. You can change that as well. Click it until you just see the M, and now you'll have a momentary at this level, and then you'll have a momentary at the boost as well. Now, once I click it back, so I can see both, you can also boost in this when you see both M and C as well. It just takes a little bit more thought. You're going to press one button, hold it, and then press the other button a second later. Or vice versa, depending on if you want a momentary boost or a continuous boost. Now if I want a continuous boost, I'm going to push the continuous button first and then hit the momentary and hold. And this same thing, it will hold up to 10 seconds if I held the buttons down that long. You can also do a momentary boost. You're just going to first tap the black and then the red, and you'll get that 1 second boost. Now, fit on here, on your collar. I always tell people, think of this like a belt. You want it tight enough that it's going to hold your pants up, but you don't want it cutting off your circulation. And you fit these pretty high on the neck. I fit them on the side of the head, right behind one of the ears, and then I put any other collar that my dog may be wearing at the time underneath that. So, this needs to be fairly snug. If both these contact points aren't firmly making contact with the dog's skin, then nothing is going to happen, or the sensation is going to be decreased quite a bit, so you need it to be snug. If you have a long-haired dog, these come with longer contact points. I would recommend that you take these off and replace them with the long ones. That way you don't have to put it quite as tight. What I do with long-haired dogs as well is when it's on them, I'll wiggle it and massage it around to kind of move that extra hair out of the way. Now, how you charge these, both are chargeable, just like a phone. You do want to make sure you're charging both the collar and the remote. Most of the times when people tell me they're having a problem with these, it's because they haven't been charging the remote, just the collar, but they do both need to be charged. So, port for the charger on the collar down there. Same thing on the remote right here. How I tell if I need to charge these, if you need to know quickly, is if I press one of these buttons, this light will hold red. Now if I see this light turn orange, then that generally indicates to me that I need to charge both my collar and my remote. When you plug these in, these lights here and the indicator on your collar will both be red. When they're fully charged, generally within about 2 hours, they'll both turn green. You can see this one here is blinking red, so that tells me as well, instead of blinking green, that this one needs to be charged as well. One last function here, on your on and off button, you notice it also says light. That's the L that's engraved on the button here. Now that'll turn on an LED from your indicator light. So if I, instead of pressing and holding for the on off, if I just tap it, it'll start blinking an LED. Tap it a second time, it'll hold solid. Third time for off.